Woo! Oh, I don't have a voice anymore, guys. Everybody, welcome to All Hang Up and Listen, brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room with, of course, over 300 beers to choose from. I know for a fact Fatty Beer is absolutely popping right now after an epic, possibly greatest regular season game ever played in Sabres history at the KeyBank Saturday night. I'm sure the downtown location is popping. But if you're ever in the area of a Fatty Beer, make sure you get there. Let them know we sent you over at Two Goalies, One Mic. Immaculate vibes and honestly best place to watch a Sabres game. And of course, Extreme Discount Mattress with Western New York's finest selection of mattresses and adjustable beds featuring the Cool Gel, Memory Foam, two-sided mattress, Tele Latex, Organic Mattress, Chatham Wells, Scott Living, all for 1/3 to half the supposed sale prices anywhere. So stop in there. There's 7 locations across Western New York, or check out their website, which is extrememattress.com. That is extreme with an X. If you're even looking for more savings, check out the new closeout center at 1625 Walden Avenue in Cheektowaga with up to 80% off their already low prices. You can save a fortune on one-of-a-kinds, closeouts, and floor samples. Get a quality mattress for literally pennies on the dollar. Extreme Discount Mattress. We sell mattress for less, a lot less. And don't forget, if you mention you're a fan of Two Goalies, One Mic, you get yourself a free mattress protector with any purchase of a mattress from Extreme Discount Mattress. So make sure you let them know you're a fan. Hurls! About a couple hours before the hockey game, me and Greg Day from over at Lancaster Fatty, we were chatting. We're like, is this a good night to go to a Sabres game? Should we spend top dollar? You knew tickets were going to be expensive, but we were like, fuck it. Let's look at prices. We did. We found some reasonable seats. First 5 rows of the 300 level. And I can tell you right now, it is possibly the greatest money I've ever spent as a Sabres fan. That was insane.
Yeah, I have a buddy who was considering going and he decided not to. He was there yesterday, so I made it a little bit tougher, but he says he immediately regretted it, even in the first 10 minutes before all of the insanity in the third period. It is one of, even going into it, it was the biggest Sabres game, regular season game in 15 years, and it turned out to be quite possibly, as you mentioned, the greatest regular season win in franchise history. All of the fights, all of the animosity to start, getting up 4-1, blowing the lead, coming back from 7-5 with less than 10 minutes to go. The resolve, the fight, everything about this group, we've said it all season long, but they showed every single punch that they have tonight.
Oh my God.
Literally and figuratively. And it is unbelievable. I actually am without words. I opened my phone and I had 3,500 text messages, and I don't know what to say to people at this point. Like it is so utterly speechless what has transpired with this hockey team.
Dude, like from the way that game started, and this is what's cool about like these division games is like, especially when you play Tampa, the amount of times we played them in like a short amount of time, like you're going to have games. It's going to get chippy. It's going to get nasty. Things are going to carry over from one game to the next. And dude, like from the first 5 minutes and then opening the second, when they pulled Kessling and Saranac apart, you knew that was going to happen at some point, right? It's going to happen. Right. Like I was honestly, if it wasn't for the fact the situation of a power play, I think it was a power play. When they got out of the box, or was it 4-on-4? I can't remember, but they probably would have fought as soon as they got out of the penalty box. But when you saw them both on the ice start the next period, you knew they were dropping them, and Kessling like suplex Saranac. It was awesome. Sam Carrick, welcome to Buffalo, homie. Like, give him the belt. He should get the belt 2 nights in a row, honestly, because he sparked that comeback and, held his own. I forgot who he fought, but like, holy shit. The only letdown for me, I thought the response to what was going on with Dahlin with Hagel could have been better, but doesn't matter in the end. They'll get him back on April 6th. And I cannot believe Brandon Hagel was not tossed from that game, Hurls.
It's pretty embarrassing from an NHL perspective that a guy can run up behind another player. And my first reaction was Todd Bertuzzi.
You said the same thing in the crowd to Greg. Like, that is Dominic or Derek Moore.
Steve Moore. Steve Moore, yeah.
Yeah.
Dominic Moore was his brother.
Yes.
Yeah, the fact that he was not tossed from that game is really, truly pathetic. And I believe that Brandon Hagel, you said the next game's April 6th?
Yeah.
So he might be back by that time, but I could see a 6+ game suspension for Brandon Hagel. I really believe
that was nuts.
Completely out of line. It was not within the confines of what was happening earlier in the game. It was egregious. It was uncalled for. And I'm glad Brandon Hagel was never a Buffalo Sabre.
Dude, like, I just, like, you hear 4-minute power play, and Greg was, like, complaining because it was, like, there was so much chaos going at the time. Like, I didn't really, why do you complain about? We're in the power play. He should be tossed. And, like, Greg was a referee for years. Like, yeah, dude, that guy should be tossed. I'm like, I agree. He's not tossed. Like, the fact that he even gave like a misconduct penalty, like a 10-minute misconduct, that's insanity. Like, the fact that he was allowed to come back in that game.
Stupid. Absolutely stupid. And there was an icing that was called right before the Hagel goal, which he shouldn't have been on the ice for, to make it 7-5, which was not icing. It was tipped past the red line. So that was ridiculous. And I think this team used that as fuel. I think they knew that Jonas Johansson, famously of the John Vogel tweet from 4 years ago when he got traded from the Sabres to the Avalanche, one of the worst goalies John Vogel has ever covered in his 20+ years covering hockey, doesn't save shots in practice or games. He showed that tonight. And I don't know. I said it to the guys I was with over at the bar. I went back tonight for the game, and it was electric atmosphere. I said I could see an 8-7 win here. Just the scope of the game and everything that's transpired. This team never quits, and quit did they not? And they came back with a fury of like I've never seen in a 5-minute stretch. They played with their hair on fire. They got to the net. They crashed the net. Jason Zucker with the speed of a 24-year-old, not a 34-year-old. It is unbelievable what they accomplished today. Sole possession of first place in the Atlantic once again.
And shout out to Pablo Barossa here. I didn't even realize Gordie Howe hat-trick for Dahlin off one of the filthiest fucking moves ever on his goal. Was incredible.
I saw Butcher Gross talking about how Dahlin needed a response based upon how they were treating him tonight. And I think that goal was as good of a response as you needed. He said that his teammates need to back it up more, which in the scope of that game, I think they did a really admirable job against a much bigger, more experienced team. They lost the first probably 90% of the fights in the first period, and then they came back in the second and won a few more. I think Bo Byram jumping into the pile when Tage got hit from behind by two separate guys at the same time is a great example of it. I think they did a better job than they did all of last season, especially when you think of when Tage got ran. I think this team loves and supports each other, and I don't think it's fair to say that any guy backed down from anything tonight. I really don't believe that.
Yeah, at no point. I mean, it got a little depressing there in the third period, especially because you kind of felt like the way that second period ended, that like, never give up, never surrender. This team has such 05, 06 vibes, man. Like that team, even though 06, 07, like those teams were never out of games in the third period. Down 1, down 2, you just knew they were somehow coming back, but you kind of knew that you were probably not going to come out of that start of that third period because of the momentum. It was such a momentum game, right? Like the momentum kept shifting back and forth. For the most part, it was in Buffalo's favor. I'm just going to say it, like with the exception of the final 10 minutes, which all that ended up mattering in the end, like UPL did not have a great game. He was not good. They gave up 14 shots in the first 40 minutes and he let 4 in. But all that matters in the final 10 minutes, he came up with the big saves. I think on the Sam Carrick goal, maybe even that brought him back within 1. or maybe it was the game tying goal. He made a big save, but like such a momentum type of game, dude. Like just like at the I even said this to Greg. It's like whoever has the momentum going into the final 5 minutes of the game is going to win because it was all like just the shifting of energy back and forth between those teams, man. And Tampa Bay, make no mistake about it, they knew that they had to play chippy and play physical to win this game because they cannot keep up with the Sabres. That is a fast team, and it didn't work for them tonight.
No, they're slow. I think UPL is at his best when he gets a lot of shots early and he's able to feel the puck and get into the rhythm of the game. I think this was especially tough for him tonight because there were only 10 to 15 shots through even the third period at one point. So I think he wasn't really able to get into a rhythm. And yeah, it definitely was not his best night. I think anybody can see that as clear as day.
But all that mattered was that final 10 minutes.
And at the end of the day, he made the saves when it mattered. And credit to him, because I think we both know that feeling as a goalie when it feels like everything is going in, the rebounds aren't going your way. Even the one that he kicked out to Hagel, it's a point shot, 95 miles per hour from the point, hits his pad. Like, what do you want him to do there? Like, that's a bounce. And it goes right to Hagel, and he puts it in the net, who I will say again should not have been on the ice. I think that UPL, over the course of his career, has gone through a lot of highs and a lot of lows, and he's still relatively staying baseline in the toughest moments. And I think that includes tonight. He, in the final 5 to 10 minutes, was able to make a few huge saves to keep this team in it, to allow them the opportunity to come back. And I do think his next time out, he'll be much better. He's been really good for 2+ months now. I think Lyon is still your game one starter. And
no doubt about it.
But I really still am confident in UPL. And I think tonight he proved that despite a lot of adversity, he can still be athletic. He can still get into position and make the save when he needs to. So,
and he was the first guy willing to jump.
Shout out to the team for supporting him as well.
Yeah. And he was the first guy that was willing to jump Brandon Hagel when fucking Donnelly was getting mugged.
100%. And I think
that was the biggest disappointment for me in this game, was just the lack of response right there. Like while I was watching that go on, I was expecting somebody to jump off the bench. Like,
well, I think Doan went immediately to him and he got on the ice. I mean, the refs were right in there. It was hard to see exactly what happened. I'm surprised nobody went after him when he stayed in the game. They probably knew that it would have been an immediate penalty and they didn't want to put themselves in a bad position because they know
he'll get his on April 6th.
Exactly. And they know the firepower that the Lightning have clearly. So I don't think it was necessarily worth it to go after him or to run him. But I think that they handled their business appropriately tonight. And they showed that despite being young, despite being a little bit smaller, that they can handle this type of environment and this type of atmosphere.
I agree. Like this, the atmosphere in the arena was honestly, that's the loudest that arena has been since their last playoff game. I'm not exaggerating either. Like, I was at one of their last playoff games. That was the loudest that arena has been since then, without a doubt. We had we want the cup chants. We had we hate you Tampa, or we hate Tampa Bay chants. Ooh ah, Sabres on a warpath chants. There was a Malin goat sign in my section, which was fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
This is as close to a playoff atmosphere as you're gonna get without it actually being a playoff game. The fans showed up and showed out, and they did not give us a team. And I genuinely believe this is one of those games where the team fed off the fans. They fed off that energy from the fan base. And we, like, you know how they say, like, in Seattle, the 12th man, that kind of stuff. Like, you know, how the fans are supposed to be loud when the other team's offense on the field in football, try and draw them offside, take time. That is what tonight felt with this fan base on that ice, because I don't think they pull off that comeback without us.
Yeah, from even hearing it through the broadcast, it sounded unbelievable. I know a few people that were in the building as well, and they said it was unlike anything that they've experienced before. So really good to see. I'm not surprised at all. We've talked about how this is a hockey town, and everybody not only is passionate about the team, but they're passionate about the sport, and they know a good game when they see one. And this is obviously no exception. Tage Thompson, 4 assists tonight. that really speaks to how well-rounded his game is. Doesn't necessarily need to score. He can do it all. 2 goals and an assist for Jason Zucker, 2 goals for Josh Doan, a goal and 2 assists for Rasmus Dahlin, 3 assists for Bowen Byram, 7 shots on goal for a team lead for Bowen Byram, 6 for Jason Zucker. Up and down the lineup. Whenever you need something, you can call on a guy to make a play, to create an opportunity, to create a chance. The depth of this team is as good as it's been in a really, really long time. And adding a guy like Sam Carrick, Logan Stanley was on the broadcast and he was raring at the bit to get in.
Oh, you could tell, man. He wanted to be in that game.
He said at one point,
he's like, fuck visa issues, man. Get me out there.
He said at one point during the broadcast in this like monotone voice, he was just like, yeah, this is sick. This is the type of game you want to be a part of. He's towering over Dan Dunleavy. It's exactly why they went out and got guys like Logan Stanley and Sam Carrick and Tanner Pearson and Luke Shen. Tonight is the best example of that, and it's going to pay dividends.
Oh, my God. We have over 300 people on YouTube watching right now. That is a new high for us. That is insane. That is sick. Oh, my God. Fuck yeah. Let's go, boys. Let's go. Oh, fuck. I just looked at that because I was curious. I don't normally check that kind of stuff during shows, but like, shout out to all of you for showing up, man. Best, honestly, one of the best games. Again, I'm just going to flat out say it. That was the greatest regular season game ever played in that arena, without a doubt. You can't even debate it.
I think like it. The only comparison I can think of is the Ottawa game in 2007. That would be the closest thing. There wasn't as much scoring, but the atmosphere and the feeling and the fights and Lindy and Brian Murray and Andrew Peters,
they can be 1A, 1B, I think.
Yeah, I think they can be interchangeable. I really do. I wasn't in the building for either one. I'm sure there are people that were in there for both, so they could probably speak to it. But I think in the scope of this season and the feeling behind this team and being in last place probably 3 months ago to the day on December 8th to now being first place in the Atlantic, I think heightens how much this meant even more. I think the 14-year playoff drought and going up against a team like the Lightning, who have won 2 cups in the past 5 years, and all these superstars and Kucherov and Braden Point and Victor Hedman, to do that against that team and John Cooper, and thank God Andrei Vasilevsky didn't play today.
The Olympics broke John Cooper. No doubt about it.
Thank God Andrei Vasilevsky didn't play today. Yeah, I think given all of that, this one might mean a little bit more, but I think, yeah, like you said, both are pretty interchangeable.
Oh, my God. I want to give a shout out to my boy Greg Day, who's at the game with tonight. I want to give a shout out to Antonio and Ryan Full. I'm not sure if they're in the chat. They said they would be. Great time with you guys tonight. Just 1,000 slices, tipping back beers. It was such a great night. I was sitting like the whole, someone's made a comment. I'm surprised you got home as quickly as you did, because normally it's hell to get out of there. I was literally standing at the exit of our aisle as the clock hit 0. And mind you, as many of you know, I'm still not remotely close to being 100% for my broken leg. I was limp running to get to my car.
You were Greg Jennings in Madden.
Literally, holding my leg.
Put the team up.
For Madden.
The team on my back.
Greg Jennings.
Greg Jennings.
One of the greatest clips I've ever seen in my life.
On my back.
From Madden.
For Madden.
That was me. That was legitimately me getting to my car. I parked in one of the ramps. I think was that on Washington or Swan? I can't remember what street it is. But yeah, I rushed to get there. But as I was getting in the vestibule, I noticed running down the stairs in front of me, either I'm not sure if it was the news or a Sabres crew guy, but I'm 99.9% positive I'm going to be on some type of Sabres highlight reel, because he waved me in. I came right in and I said, Sabres on a warpath, baby. I got right in the camera's face, and he's like, hell yeah, loving it. So I'm pretty positive I'm going to be on some type of Sabres highlight reel. Because they had like 5 camera people rushing to get down there the second the game ended, because they wanted to catch what that atmosphere was going to be like in the vestibule.
the documentary of this season, whenever they remake, which they're gonna, when they remake the playoff hype video of the B-roll shots around the city of the factory workers and the flags and the countryside, and I'm on good authority of the Sabres content people that they are going to remake that.
Oh, so no doubt.
That is going to be incredible. Goo Goo Dolls Better Days. I think
I'm done with the Better Days, dude. I don't care for Better Days.
Another Goo Goo Dolls Better Days.
That's great, but that should not be the anthem for this team. It
no. I don't necessarily think the anthem. I just think for that video, I think it's synonymous with that video specifically. So I think if you want to remake that, not necessarily shot for shot, but with a more updated, modern, refreshed view of Buffalo, I think that would be really cool. Whatever the anthem may be, I don't think it necessarily matters.
So alive. They did the music video. They filmed it in Buffalo. I think at the Central Terminal. Is that where they filmed it? That is the anthem for me. Still keep it Goo Goo Dolls. I think leave Better Days where it is. This team is different. It's special many of the same ways, but this team is different, and let them have their own identity. I think that one should be it. That's just my personal opinion. Not totally disagreeing with you, but
yeah. No, I think totally other suggestions, and I think there will be other ones. It is a different team. It is a different era. I just think for that video specifically would be really cool.
For sure.
3 more regulation wins than anybody in the Eastern Conference.
Really?
3 more regulation wins than anybody. Than the Lightning.
The big thing here is getting this done in regulation tonight.
Oh,
not giving Tampa even a point.
It is really, really crazy how they're accomplishing this and winning in so many different ways. And the adversity, the ability to come back, to hold a lead, everything with that we talked about. I feel like a broken record, but we keep saying it with how often they've done this in the past 3 months. And they've largely done it just in the past 3 months, which is even crazier.
Yeah. For shout out to you guys for always delivering these recaps. Always love watching you guys. And Duane, you have always been what all of us Sabres fans have been for years, diehards. Appreciate that, guys. And same thing with Hurls. He chimes in here after just about every game from California. He does a 9 to 5 grind too. Gets on with us. I am a little jealous for your start times for Sabres games. I won't lie, because you still get to bed at a decent time. But
it's actually 6 to 4:30 for me, so it's even a little.
Well, you know what I mean. It's the same.
Yeah, for sure. And the West Coast sports times are undefeated. Today's game started at
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock for me, so that was really cool. The 10 a.m. games on Saturdays are really cool sometimes. For those that don't know, I'm born and raised in Buffalo. I went to City Honors for high school, Syracuse for college, and then moved out to LA about 10 and a half, almost 11 years ago. I've been out here a long time, but my affinity and love for Buffalo has only grown since I've been gone. And I know a lot of people that have moved away have also said that. Where we watch Bills games, I'm part of the LA Bills backers of Santa Monica out here. I moved around the block with my girlfriend, and we live very close to the bar. But we have now started the LA Sabres backers, with backers being BACRES, of course. And we had about 7 to 10 of us watching the game there today in the theater room with audio. People that were just there, just like playing board games, watching different college basketball games, eventually started to like filter into where we were watching the game, because they couldn't believe what was happening. They were seeing some of the fights, they were seeing the score, the goals, and they eventually joined in. It is really, really cool to see what's happening. And I don't think my experience out here is the only one. I think this is going to start to happen in other cities with other expats as well.
I think we should start. We're getting a lot of song suggestions here in the chat for the new Sabres anthem should be Give Me Some Metallica or Killswitch Engage. Maybe we'll put out a poll, some type of poll. Maybe we'll do our own bracket thing. What should the Sabres anthem be for this team? Because I honestly love Better Days, but I would just leave that one behind. Not beat a dead horse. From Full Blast 36, from 99.9% pilots, my buddy Ryan Full, who was at the game with me tonight. Someone needs to run Hagel immediately next time he play April 6th. Take the dirtiest hit on him. He asked for it. Is that a game, man? where you would bring up a Mason Gearston?
I mean, maybe.
I mean, you're sending the message right there why he's there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even if he plays 1 minute.
I mean, even if it's just a fight, though, like I don't want to take the guy's head off.
Here's the thing. Like, I don't want it. He needs to answer for it. He needs to answer for it. And if he's playing, he needs to, and he knows it's coming.
Sure, but I think that could also just be dropping the gloves as soon as the puck drops, right? Like, I don't think it needs to be with his head down over the middle. Somebody takes his head off and ends his career.
No, I'm not saying that.
But I think like Beck Mallinston or Sam Carrick, Logan Stanley would be great. I
would rather it be somebody who's not going to be on a playoff roster. Send Mason Gearston after him.
For sure, but I think as we saw tonight, like these guys can get in fights and still stay in the game too. Like that would just be a 5-minute penalty, right? Like I think it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that's going to get suspended for it. I think you can send a message without doing something that goes over the line like he did. Mm-hmm. I think that we can be a little bit bigger in that sense, that it doesn't have to cross any type of proverbial line in terms of being dirty, right? Like what he did tonight was outlandish and it doesn't belong in the game. And I think what Todd Bertuzzi did to Steve Moore proved that a long time ago. It was weird. It was super lame, to be honest. I think that Dowling gets under guys' skins, but I've never seen, I mean, Malkin, look at the other night. Like, I don't know if Malkin got suspended or not, but
5 games.
5 games. There you go. Like, that's the thing. Like, if Malkin got 5 for that, I think Hagel's going to get 5+. I really do.
Shout out to you. City Honors, literally the only good school in the Buffalo Public High School system. You're a City Honors alum, right?
I am. Yes. I am the son of 2 Buffalo Public City School teachers as well. So I was raised in an educational family, and I had the opportunity to get into City Honors and played hockey there. We were in 2 Super Sundays my junior and senior year. And yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better high school experience for sure.
Yeah. I was there. My buddies there were all Depew hockey alumni. You know, great times with those 2 guys, Antonio and Ryan. Glad to be there with you tonight. Glad it all lined up because they messaged me actually like an hour after we bought our tickets. Like, hey, you want to go tonight? I'm like, well, no, but there's tickets available 1 aisle over. So it's still cool to hang out with them. Logan Stanley, you mentioned him, and we got to see firsthand how big that guy really is. Like you said earlier, when he was standing next to Dan Dunleavy, holy shit.
Made him look like a hobbit.
Dude. Like, oh my God.
Dunleavy, I don't know how tall Dan Dunleavy is, but I mean, I think Tage is 6'7" or 6'6", so it won't necessarily be out of place, but he is a big dude.
Dude, like, and he's on skates, dude. You can add another 2 inches to that. Like, holy fuck. Oh my God. It's going to be fun to watch him, man. And just the depth this team has now. Like, who comes out of the lineup? I mean, I imagine, is Tanner Pearson just an extra guy, or does he play on a night-to-night basis?
I think he'll start as an extra guy, but if one guy's game goes to shit, I think Tanner Pearson slots in. Gosh, I was just looking at Luke Schen's 6'2", Stanley 6'7", Power 6'6", Kesselring 6'5". You're gonna have some big boys there on defense. Obviously, I mean Tuck 6'4". Like, you're gonna need that type of brawn in the playoffs, as you saw tonight. But yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people are getting on Jack Quinn, deservedly so. Sometimes he's been weak on the puck. Johansson made a great save on him there. I think that should have been a goal. He got to the right spot, and I think he had a good opportunity. But more often than not, Jack Quinn's play has been pretty inconsistent. And I do think in a playoff type atmosphere, Tanner Pearson might be more usefully slotted in on that third line than Jack Quinn would be. A line of Jason Zucker, Ryan McLeod, and Tanner Pearson, I think, could potentially be more impactful than Jack Quinn. So, like,
I know he had an assist. I know he had an assist last night, but like, he has just been just useless for the most part. Like, yeah, he's fighting the puck, man. He can't hit the net. He's shying away from the physical side of the game. I kind of focused on him for a couple of shifts tonight, man. He was really going through the motion. Even when the vibes were high and we were playing so well, he was just kind of coasting out there.
Yeah, it's definitely not great, and I think he's a certain type of player that thrives when he's not necessarily being hit. So yeah, I think it can see what happens. He's been around a few years now, so I don't think they'll immediately just replace him with Tanner Pearson. But I think that's why you bring in a guy like Tanner Pearson, so that if Quinn's not producing the playoffs, then you can bring in a guy who's done it before, and he's done it a few different times. His rookie year with the Kings, he had a pretty impactful impact. This is where my mind's at the moment. He was impactful on that 2014 LA Kings Cup winning team. So you've got that type of pedigree on your roster now, and hopefully that'll make Jack Quinn play a little bit tougher, be harder on his stick, and play a tougher game.
No doubt about it. We did have a comment here from Stupid Reality. How is your fourth line not Carrick, Malenstein, and Pearson? That is a scary checking line, man. That would be a very, very scary checking line.
For sure. I would have to go back and look at a little bit more of Pearson's game. He can be a little bit heavy. I was just going to look at his measurements. I mean, I've liked Benson there. I've liked Krebs there. I think we're getting to the point where it's like you can't sit Peyton Krebs at this point.
He's been playing on the top line.
Yeah, and that's the thing, which is really cool. And his arc and his story from even a year and a half ago to where he is now is really remarkable. But Tanner Pearson, he's 6'1", 207, so pretty big boy. He's not necessarily known for his offensive production, which is technically all Jack Quinn really has, and when he is high, when he is scoring. So it would be a different type of player. But I mean, they scored 8 on the Lightning tonight, so I don't necessarily think they're hurting for goals by any means.
Yeah, 100%. More from Full Blast. Much props. The Sabres are hanging in there and figuring it out, and hanging in there after down by 2 and finishing the game off. The atmosphere in that arena, it was never felt like we were really out of it, even when we had done down 7-5. Like, I felt like we still had an opportunity. Like last year, at that point in the game, down by 2, half the arena's empty. Nobody left, man. Nobody was leaving. Not in our section, at least. And that was just like, man, bring that. I can't say it enough, man. I genuinely feel like that comeback was fueled off the energy of the fans. It just really was.
I would say it definitely had an impact, but also this team is really, really good, and they've proven it.
No, I agree.
3+ months now. Obviously, momentum is a huge thing, but I think they can work in conjunction with each other, and they absolutely did tonight.
100%. I want to kick it back to our sponsors. Shout out again to Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room with over 300 beers to choose from at 7 different Western New York locations. If you need a beer, get to Fatty Beer. Let them know we sent you from Two Goalies, One Mike. Make sure you keep an eye out for more information regarding the giant watch party if and when the Sabres make the playoffs, the first away game. As long as the weather permits, we're going to do a giant watch party outside the Lancaster location. Giant screens at each end of the street vendors. You can bring your own beer. There's beer at Fatty's. It's going to be a absolute blast. If you ever went to the ones they did for the Bills, those were always a great time, and I highly, highly, highly expect there to be fantastic weather. When did the playoffs start? Is it like late April?
April 18th.
April 18th.
Saturday, April 18th.
So it was late April, normally early May. I can't wait, man. It's going to be so much fucking fun. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. And of course, as always, Extreme Discount Mattress with Western New York's finest selection of mattresses and adjustable beds. They have 7 Western New York locations. You can find them at their website, which is extrememattress.com. That is Extreme with an X. They also have a new closeout center at 1625 Walden Avenue in Cheektowaga, with up to 80% off their already low prices of their selections like floor models, one of a kinds, and closeouts. So make sure you check them out. And remember, if you mention that you're a fan of Two Goalies, One Mike, you get yourself a free mattress protector with any purchase of a mattress. So shout out to both that Fatty Beer and Extreme Discount Mattress. Also, as I mentioned to you earlier, Earls, we have reached over now 101,000 views on YouTube. That is something we've been focusing a lot as of late over the past about year and a half. And that's a lot of hard work and dedication there to get us up to that number. We're closing in on 1,100 subscribers. We've actually jumped up since the start of this podcast, since I press record. Our subscribers we've jumped up about 30 subscribers in the past 30 minutes. So shout out to all of you guys for those who are here that are always here. And thank you for the new people who subscribed and are hanging out. Again, we're still staying strong at over 300 live viewers right now on YouTube, which is insane. So, any more thoughts from you, Hurls? Not final thoughts, but more thoughts.
I mean, I'm pretty speechless. I think I can. Yeah, Josh Doan. Since he signed his extension, he kind of tapered off a little bit. Obviously, had this incredible start. He made the JJ Peterka trade worth it just by himself, almost exclusively, not even considering Michael Kesselring, who was hurt for the large part of the first half of the season, and he earned that extension. And then leading up into the Olympic break and right after the Olympic break, he was a little quiet, and he wasn't playing the same type of game. But I think these gritty playoff style, hard-hitting, hard-nosed type games really cater to the way he plays hockey really well. And past two games specifically, I think you've noticed the Josh Doan that we became accustomed to. 2 goals tonight, getting to the front of the net, the exact same goal in the power play that he scored against the Canadiens on the goal line, putting it short side top cheese. It is a very skillful play, but it's also a gritty play, getting to the front of the net and getting to the scoring area. I think Josh Doan is going to be the perfect playoff player that this team needs, and I'm happy to see he's got his mojo back.
Yep. So again, so many ups and downs from this team tonight. I think, Owen Power is getting a lot of criticism in the chat, maybe rightfully so. He didn't have a great game tonight. At one point he was -4, ended up on -5, ended up at -4 in the night. But I mean, again, he hasn't really given us much to complain about. I mean, I guess the biggest test for him is how he bounces back from a game like this. Hopefully with the type of team he has around him now compared to last season, it won't be much to worry about. He has been pretty solid for I would say 75% of the season up until this point. Again, not much to complain about. So I'm not too worried there. I said it last episode too. If they win tonight, I predict they will win division. I'll still stick by that. This team will win the Atlantic Division, and I hope that they clinch a playoff spot or clinch the division on the road, so this fan base can fucking lose their minds at the airport when they get back in. I can't stress it enough, man. Just watching that street lined, like I said, we didn't have a ton of people when I went there, but like having that street leading out of the airport where they drive out, just lined up with people. Just lined up with like 1,000 people. And they sent police officers there because it started to get around online that they thought fans could show up. But if it happens this time and it happens on the road, when they come home, they might have to shut down all of, Genesee Street or whatever it is down there, just because of the amount of fans that'll show up.
Starting to get the feeling that not this upcoming weekend, but the weekend of the 21st and 22nd, when they're out here in LA and then in Anaheim the next day, I'm getting a feeling it might happen that weekend. And if that is the case, I'll go to LAX. I'll go to the Anaheim airport if I need to. I will be at both games in both LA and Anaheim, so that will be pretty cool. And I know there's going to be a ton of Sabres fans that are at those games. But yeah, just the way that it's going right now and how some of the teams that are chasing that wild card spot are looking, it's getting to the point where I feel like the clinch is coming sooner than we think. And I think we all need to mentally and physically prepare ourselves for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Me and Greg, like I said, we're talking about going down to Florida for that April 6th game because his brother, he coaches I forget what level team he coaches down there, but he helps run the program, and we have a place to stay for free. But we're thinking about making the trip down there and then going to the game on the 8th too, making almost a full week out of it. So gonna keep you guys updated on that. I kind of want to do it. Because that'll be a game you want to go to. Because that, like somebody else, that could end up being for the division too. Who knows? I just genuinely think that, and I stand by it. If they would have won tonight, they're going to win the division. I'll stand by that.
Yeah, it's getting more and more likely. That's for sure.
So, I'm going to hit the post-game quotes because I'm sure you guys all are very interested to hear what these players and what the head coach had to say after the game. As the Sabres own the Atlantic, they own the Atlantic. I still can't believe I am saying that here on March, is it the 8th? Yeah, we're on the March 8th. Absolutely insane. And they might have talked to every single goddamn player in that locker room tonight. From Jason Zucker, we just knew the momentum swings were going back and forth. We just kept getting pucks behind them. He also says that they had a feeling that Tampa was going to come in and try and push them around, but they felt confident that their group was ready. More from Zucker says the power play kept it simple, says they got more shots on net today. They've been focused on that more so. Zucker says the atmosphere was incredible. It says he was glad to be a part of the game and happy to be a part of this team. Zucker, I think, with 2 goals in the night, Doan with 2 goals, and Tuck with 2 goals. Tuck also adding a shorthanded goal. Doan, that was a physical back and forth game. I think we stood in there and battled back. There was no give up on our own bench. Doan said that they kind of knew what to expect with Tampa, reflecting on games they've had with Florida. Says if they want to run around and take runs at us, says they will take advantage of the power play. Doan on getting to 20 goals, now at 21. It's obviously exciting. I've been put in an opportunity to help our team win, and it's a nice accomplishment, but we have 18 more games to go to rack up some more wins. Tuck, that's hockey right there. It's awesome. Really happy to get 2 points. So proud of our team. Every scrum was 5-man scrums. No one backing down. We stuck with it. Tuck says the atmosphere in the arena was awesome. Says the fans didn't let up. It gave me chills. Tuck on Hagel going after Million. Not too happy with that. Says a lot of guys stepped up. Something they will be aware of going forward. Says Darlene knows he'll be targeted, but says they will have his back. Darlene, for sure. For sure, we could have done this without the crowd. For sure, we could not have done this without the crowd. Unbelievable atmosphere. Darlene, I'm out there to play the game of hockey, not do stupid stuff. Says he's so proud of the guys. Said tonight will make them better. Says they are brothers in here. Darlene on Hagel says he stayed calm. He got a power play. We got a power play out of it. Says he could help the team that way. If he could help the team that way, he will do it. This is why I play more from Darlene. This is why I play hockey. This is the best part. It's finally, I don't take this for granted at all. I'm so fired up. I'm so fired up for the fans of this city. From Lindy Ruff, I think the emotions were great inside the game. That was kind of a galvanizing game. More from Ruff. We've come a long way. Says they answered the call. Says there was no quit. Says every guy was on board. More from Lindy Ruff. Says said he's not a referee, but usually a situation like that with Hagel, he gets kicked out. Ruff says they continue to generate opportunities. They wouldn't go away if they kept at it. Says the skating by many was great. Their speed was evident. More from Ruff on the building. This building was awesome. Our fans were awesome. They got their money's worth. They might have underpaid for this one. Ruff on the key to the 4 power play goals. We shot the puck. Says they really made an effort to get more shots. Ruff says he didn't consider changing goalies. Says he was in the battle too. Says the goalies have been so good. Says he gives credit to Ukko for battling through it. And that was it from the inside the locker room. Yeah, I forget who it was in there. It said maybe Tuck or was it Darlene? That they fed off the energy from the fans. I do want to say this: if you're Alex Tuck after going through that game, how do you not sign an extension? How do you not?
Yeah, I think he's more likely than anyone else, given his background and growing up a Sabres fan and being a part of the Eichel trade and coming in when he did. And everything that's surrounded the story of Alex Tuck with the Sabres makes him more likely to not necessarily take way less, but as we've talked about, hopefully come to some type of compromise, whether it's less term, more money up front, more guaranteed money, maybe a 5-year deal instead of a 7-year deal. I think there's a way to do it. And I hope that Yarmo in the front office and Alex Tuck and his agents realize what's happening here and that this isn't just a one season type thing. This team is going to be good for a really long time. And I hope that they will be able to come to some type of compromise. I think that how much he cares about the city, this franchise, and the guys in that room, I think will allow him to be a little bit more open than he would be anywhere else to that type of possibility.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. Before we get out of here, what's the next game on the schedule?
Tuesday at home against the San Jose Sharks.
Macklin Celebrini coming into town.
I said it
back
in January how electric a Sabres Sharks Cup final would be. I think I saw this Macklin Celebrini play, and I haven't watched a full game of his. I've watched a third period when games have been close, but he is one of the more entertaining hockey players I've ever seen in my life. He is so unbelievably good. If you look at the stats for the San Jose Sharks, it's actually pretty insane. Macklin Celebrini leads the Sharks with 89 points in 61 games. He's got 32 goals and 57 assists. The next highest point getter on the San Jose Sharks is Will Smith with 44. He's got 45 more points than anyone on the team. 45.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's so
he's so good.
He's so good. And I'm so excited to watch him play on.
Shout out to my homie Johnny Lazarus with the Morning Cup of Hockey crew. Just because I'm going to bring up something they brought up on their show. And I mean, I think the obvious answer is probably going to be Macklin Celebrini, but I don't think it should be like the gap between the two players should be. Who would you rather build your team around, Matthew Schaefer or Macklin Celebrini?
I think just Celebrini just because he's a center. And he is he a center? Yeah, he is. So I think just because he's a center, the center has more impact on the game. Having a first line superstar center, I think matters more personally. I think the Sabres, as good as Dahlin is, and I believe Owen Power has been playing recently, they got a bit unlucky not having a generational first line center in either one of those drafts when they got the first overall pick. Celebrini impacts the game way more than Matthew Schaefer does. Schaefer is incredible, but I think Celebrini, if I had to pick, I think it's obvious.
I do think the gap isn't as big as many would say. I'd probably say Celebrini too. But I think Matthew Schaefer, 20 goals is 18. He's still 18, which is insane. 18 years old in this league, scoring 20 goals as a defenseman.
No, he's 19. He turns 20 in June.
Does it? I could have swore I just saw.
Oh no, Schaefer. Schaefer or Celebrini?
Schaefer's 18.
Oh yeah. Schaefer's.
Yeah, I'm talking about Schaefer. Like he's still 18 years old and scored 20 goals as a defenseman. That's insane.
Yeah, turns 19 in September. Crazy.
Yeah.
No, he's incredible. He's really, 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 really good. But I think it's a no-brainer, personally. Oh, I lost your audio. Lost your audio. No, there you
go. No, the MacBook was about to die, so I plugged it back in. Yeah. So, yeah, they got the Sharks on Tuesday, Capitals on Thursday, and then the Toronto Maple Leafs on Saturday, March 14th. That'll be a fun one. I wonder how many. I'm sure there'll be a decent amount of Leafs fans in the crowd just because they probably bought their tickets well before the season started. So, but still, I hope Sabres fans show up and show out to drown out those Leafs fans because we're going to need it, because I will not stand for us being, if the arena is going to be like 30 to 40% Leafs fans, we still need to be louder. No doubt about it. So got to show up.
First in the Atlantic, first last in the Atlantic. So
there you go.
It better be.
One other comment that keeps kind of showing up in the chat here. Wish Rick was here for this team. RJ too, for sure. I could only imagine, and this is nothing against Dan Dunleavy at all.
No, I think Dunleavy's done a really admirable job filling in for Rick. I really do.
Yeah. But could you imagine how much Rick would have been losing his mind in that broadcast booth tonight?
Jay McKee just tweeted about an hour ago, these guys are good, scary good. So I think the guys from that era are remembering and honoring Rick as much as they're able to. But yeah, I was saying it back in December when they got on that 10-game win streak. It's cool to think that hopefully he's watching down and smiling at these guys, because I think it's the type of team and they're winning the type of games, especially tonight. Some of the calls from tonight would have been insane. But
could you imagine when he was getting mugged by Hagel, how much Rick would have been flipping shit?
Yeah, I will say though, Dunleavy meets the moment, and
he does. No, he's great. He's great.
Calls a good game. I think he stays composed, and I think that's what he does best. He calls the action as it's happening. He's not getting like these ESPN broadcasts that we've seen recently. He's not getting. It's not a podcast. He's calling the game. He's a play-by-play announcer.
Yep.
He's telling you what's happening on the ice and describing it in a way that's descriptive and that makes sense. These ESPN and sometimes TNT broadcasts, I think, want to make it about themselves way too much, and some of the personalities.
I can't do another ESPN broadcast.
Yeah, they're speaking way too much, and somebody needs to get in their ear and tell them to call the game, because that's what they're there for. It's been really, really horrible recently, and I'm not one to get on these people too much, but it's been bad. But thankful for Dunleavy. Shout out to Rick. I know he's smiling down on these guys, and we'll keep this thing going.
Yeah, well, I will say that one of the best. I mean, Dan does a great. I think Razor is the best part of this broadcast too. I think RJ's still alive and well through Rob Ray.
He was great tonight. I think it was forget the one that it was Cernak and Kesselring when it got broken up. He said sometimes the linesmen take all the fun out of the game, and it was like the 15th fight of the game, and they finally broke
it up. I wish I had this still frame. I took a picture of my phone, but it would take too much time to bring it up on screen. But like I forget, it might have been Krebs getting mugged behind the net during one of the first scrums of the game, and the linesmen were in there kind of like breaking things up, but both referees were on each side of the scrum, just standing there watching, and this guy is like hitting Krebs in the back of the head, and the ref's just standing there. I'm like, yo, get him off him. He's like in a very defenseless position right now. What is going on? Like, that's insanity. And I'm looking at the other ref, he's doing the same thing, not doing anything. What the fuck? Wild. Yeah. Absolute wild.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't want to stop talking about this game. It was so much fun. Oh, that was so much fun. And any of you follow me on Twitter, you would have seen how like just I tried to capture as much of the atmosphere from tonight's game as I possibly could throughout the night, because it was so worth seeing. And I don't think anybody watching at home could really feel or understand how loud and it was in there. And like I've said it so many times on this show, those walls can shake of the KeyBank Center. Like they shook tonight, no doubt about it. Like the building was absolutely shaking tonight. It was crazy.
They might need to fortify the beams in the construction, because if what happens, what we may think happened in the next few months, that there's a chance that the building collapses, and that could be really bad for a lot of people.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh god! I'm so full of energy, man. I gotta wake up early for work tomorrow. Like, this is why I envy you, because right now it's 7:40 there now. Right now it's 7:40, not 10:40 like it is here. I envy you because like you can still just kind of like wind down and get to bed at a decent time. Whereas me, I'm so wired right now. I can't go to bed after that. I don't want to go to bed. I want to go out and play hockey right now. Like I want to go out and start a street hockey game. That's how amped up I am right now. I want to throw a starter jacket on underneath this jersey, go get my Milet goalie pads, go get the Franklin waffle, my baseball glove like I used to wear when I was a kid, get the player mask on, and go find a hockey game right now. That's what I want to do. That's how amped up I am right now. Oh, and back in the day when I was that, like that young, like between the age of like 12 and 16, it was not hard to find a hockey game going on in Western New York. They were everywhere. Not so much today, but I hope that this is the turnaround with these young kids. There was a kid behind me tonight that like you just hear him. You could tell he was just a little guy, and he's like, "Yeah, go Sabres!" I turned, I was like, "Hell yeah, kid!" I slapped his hands, and everybody started losing their minds. I looked at him like, "You are the future. You are the future." And I don't think he had any clue what I was saying to him, but his parents knew what I was saying. It was like, "You are the future of this organization and this franchise. You need to keep that type of energy." And I'm so happy that kids that age get to experience this type of hockey, because 2 generations of Sabres fans had no clue what a good hockey team looked like in Buffalo. So it was that is refreshing for me, because I got sick and tired of seeing kids walk around with Ovechkin jerseys on, or Crosby jerseys, or McDavid jerseys, and not Sabres jerseys, because they had no reason to have a favorite Sabre, because they all just sucked. Unless it was an Eichel jersey, which he never got to experience a playoff game in Buffalo. All these kids, they just went and found different teams, and they didn't really gravitate and latch onto a team. They latched onto a player because they had no reason. There was no reason for them to latch onto a player in Buffalo, because the team stunk. I'm just so happy that these kids finally have a team to be proud of and to follow and get excited when on game nights to either watch the game with their friends or their parents, wherever they're watching it. Like, that is huge for this city, because I've said it so many times. I feel like we've seen it in the ratings that this team, this fan base, is a top 3 fan base, top 3 market, if not the best market, TV market in all of the National Hockey League. And when they used to say this, when the Bills are good, it's good for football. When the Sabres are good, it's good for hockey. I'll stand by that.
I mean, when the Sabres are bad, it's still good for hockey, given how much everybody in the region loves the sport. So when the Sabres are good, it's gonna, I think, take the ratings and the interest to the next level. So
100%.
Yeah, I have a playoff game myself this week against our bitter rival, who there have been many fights against.
Does it ever get greasy when you guys play?
There was a fight 2 games ago where in the handshake line, I got pushed.
Get out of here!
I got pushed over, and my helmet was on top of my head, and my helmet flew off, and I almost hit my head on the ice, and I threw my blocker, and it got a little dicey. So yeah, that one pumped me up, and I was texting my teammates that this game today was a preview of what we're going to see on Thursday. But
what was I going to say? Did you do anything during the game to like provoke
that?
I
mean, not necessarily. It was a shot that wasn't intended for me. Somebody pushed my teammate, and then he accidentally fell back into me, and that's when I fell. But yeah, it's just it does get intense, and I think that's the thing about hockey sometimes. Like, emotions get high, and you see it in other sports, but it's not quite the same when it happens out there on the ice. And yeah. I don't necessarily think this needs to happen every single game, and it doesn't happen every game, and there's a lot less of it. But I think these guys responded in the way that they should have, and it was really cool to see. So on to the next one.
Yep, 100%. We reminisced a little bit about a game like that from when we played men's league, me, Antonio, and Ryan. I can't remember if it was when we played for our team name was called the Pylons, or it was when we were the Four Stallions. Or sponsored by a local bar. I remember being a little of a greasy game like that, where this one guy kept kind of snowing me, and he got too close, and I kind of gave him the waffle a little bit, not too hard, but then he took a swing at me, and the next ensuing face-off, that same guy who was a defenseman, puck went into the corner. I was looking in the corner, and then I kind of caught him on peripheral. He just bum rushed me, like just ran me hard, and a huge scrum, huge melee up, and our buddy Jesse Kowalski grabbed that guy's cage. And Jesse's a big, strong guy, and he ripped it clean off his helmet and then punched him twice in the face. Face was all bloody, beat red, and we just kept yelling at him as he got tossed from the game. Like, what the fuck happened to your face, dude? When I'm not going to say the names on how you describe a bloody face, but you can probably say it in the chat if you want. But that was one of the most memorable games from my beer league career. We won the game too. But that was a fun one. That was a greasy one for sure. I'm ready to get out of here. At this stuff down. I'm sure you want to get out of here too. So Sabres win 8-7 in one of the most dramatic fashions you could possibly imagine. One of the best atmospheres I've ever been a part of in a regular season game. Actually, real quick, Rachel Lindsay did tweet out some stats just now. Sabres scored 4 power play goals and 1 shorthanded goal. Tage Thompson with a 4-point game. Bowen Byram, Jason Zucker, and Rasmus Dahlin had 3 points each. Sam Carrick was 78% on faceoffs tonight, which, again, another big reason why they brought him in. We will talk to you later. If you've enjoyed this, please make sure you're following along at 2 Goalies, 1 Mic. On audio only, we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. You can search 2 Goalies, 1 Mic. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it. You can find myself at Duane S39 on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can find my co-host at C Hurls 13 on Instagram and on Twitter. You can find us on YouTube, as I see many of you are watching right now. Please make sure you're following around. Hit that bell icon so you know when we go live. And, of course, smash that fucking like button. Smash that like button. Break your screen. Smash it as hard as the Sabres smashed the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight, both on the scoreboard and on the ice. So we'll talk to you guys later. And, as always, go Sabres. We got a 3rd jersey. What a fucking beauty. Love it. Talk to you guys later.